Welcome to Pathways of Hope. My name is Lucy Taka and I'm here to share with you my reflections on the Gospel of today, taken from Luke chapter 13 verses 10 to 17. In today's Gospel, we find a woman imprisoned in infirmity for 18 years. But in an instant, Jesus heals her. Notably, before laying hands on her, Jesus declares her free from her disability or from the disabling spirit plaguing her. This tells us hers was a spiritual bondage that manifested itself physically. And then we find the leaders of the synagogue indignant because the healing was done on the Sabbath. Within earshot of Jesus, they scold the people, saying those who needed healing must come on days other than the Sabbath. Jesus does not skip a beat and immediately rebukes them for their legalism and hypocrisy as they were calling out the people for violating the Sabbath when they were guilty of violating it themselves. He then emphasizes that the Sabbath, rather than bind people to rules and regulations, is actually the time to show compassion and mercy. Reflecting on the passage, I cannot help but think that the imposition of a distorted understanding of the practices of their religion by the synagogue leaders could have been contributory to the woman's predicament. She could have been disabled by the strict and merciless judgments on her by the leaders and even her fellow Jews. That Jesus took the opportunity to teach the people about focusing on the Sabbath as a day of freedom rather than prolonging bondage, on the spirit of the law rather than its letter, I think strengthens this proposition. After all, the Sabbath is a day of rest, a day dedicated to the worship of God, God who gave them freedom from bondage. Sabbath is therefore a day when they should show mercy and compassion as God did to them. In the story, I can relate with the religious leaders. I often find myself critical and judgmental of others, telling myself, they should know better, or it isn't that hard to understand, or it's such a simple thing, why can't they follow? Or worse, they are hopeless. I don't think they can be better than they are now. It is good to ask ourselves if we, by our own actions or misconceptions, others are also held in bondage and are unduly burdened. We often set very high standards we judge people against without considering their circumstances. We withhold mercy and forgiveness because we are convinced they do not deserve it for the hurt they have caused us. Even without intending it, we can hold people's hearts and minds hostage and prevent them from living their lives fully. By our refusal or failure to forgive, to forbear, or to show compassion. We can cause people to be disabled all their lives because we have not chosen to act with understanding, with mercy and compassion. Jesus is teaching us to put a premium on mercy and compassion than on the strict imposition of rules and regulations. After all, if God were to judge us strictly on the law, we will all be without hope. Psalm 130 verse 3 states, "If you, Lord, keep account of sins, Lord, who can stand?" This is not to belittle nor disregard the wrongs done to us. Wrongs must be admitted and restoration done for the healing to be complete. We might very well be right in our judgment, in our anger and indignation. But God gives us the opportunity to appreciate what He has done for us, showing us mercy by withholding the punishment of death we all deserve by our sins, and to appreciate the grace He provides us each and every day to be more and more like Him. The good news is as we set others free, following Jesus' example, as we allow them to stand upright, we also set ourselves free. We can espouse righteousness and stand and fight for the truth, but like Jesus, we must be gracious about it. Is Jesus knocking at the door of your heart today to understand someone better, to forgive, to ask for forgiveness, to provide help to someone you consider an enemy, to stand up for what is right and fight for the truth, but to do it as Jesus would? open the door. Maybe you can help lead that person or those people to the right path. Allow the Lord to transform and strengthen you to obey. And then act accordingly. As you become the Lord's instrument of healing, of allowing others to live a full life, so He will heal you and allow you to live a full life. Thank you, and God bless you.